What is up, people? I am back. I just want to say, like, right away, thank you for all the love and support I've been receiving lately. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, last when I left off, it's been close to a month now since I last ridden my bike. But we have an issue. So when I last left the bike, I made sure I washed the bike. I made sure all the checks were done. And it seemed like everything was intact, at least at the time. But ever since I returned back home now, I realized one of the bike spokes on the front wheels is snapped. I'm not exactly sure how, but one of the nipples, it just kind of like broke off. Lucky for me, the actual spoke isn't broken. So I can easily replace it, I believe. But it's definitely an issue. I gotta show you guys, but I like to also put out there that I have no idea how to fix this. So we'll see. All right, so as you see, the bike has this front wheels taken off. I've been trying to research on how to fix it, but basically, the spoke right here, not sure you can see it. I bought like two of these, well, two sets of these spoke nipples here. Just trying to focus, I guess. Because I couldn't get the size right. I think these are the actual right ones now. But yeah, I think replacing this will help. But another issue I ran into is I actually don't have levers or tire levers to remove the tires from the wheel. So I'm kind of stuck until I get those levers in so I can easily fix this, or hopefully it'll be easy. We'll see. I'm also going to convert this into tubeless now while I'm here. We'll see how that goes. So stay tuned for, I guess, the next clip. All right, guys, so I decided to put some elbow grease into removing my tires because I couldn't wait for the tire levers to come in. So I decided, hey, you know what, let's just give it a try, and I was finally able to do it. But you can kind of see there, my makeshift tire levers didn't really do well with the rim, which is sad, but you know, I had to take these off and fix that bike spoke. Which one is it? Lucky I bought gold, so I know exactly which one it is. I know it looks a little weird, but yeah, I was able to install it. And I also can confirm that these rims, at least for the 2022 version of the Siskiu D6, it does come tape. However, I'm going to say that this tape is not really trustworthy. I mean, it feels nice, but it's not sticky at all. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be, but the moment I took out the tire and I played with the tape a little bit to take off the ends, the whole tape just fell off. It's almost like it wasn't even tape. So yeah, that's just a little bit of information for you guys there. Take what you want from it. It is taped and tubeless ready. I think these tires are also tubeless ready, but I wouldn't trust the tape, me personally. So I'm going to use my own tape and whatnot. So yeah, and also the tubeless setup kit from Muck Off is here today. So I'm going to be setting up tubeless tires for the first time. So that'll be exciting. I also forgot to mention that while I was here, I also installed these mud guards on the bike, only because, you know, I had to take off the wheels and whatnot, and I had a lot of time, so, you know, I did a little upgrade here. So now, stuff won't be flying to my face. Nice. Also, sorry, I forgot to mention some of the tools or supplies that I had to use. So these are the nipples that I end up getting. You can pause the screen whenever you can. But that is the size. It looks like it's a 14 gauge by 14 millimeter. There's 100 nipples in here. I believe these ran for like $9, so it was a steal. But yeah, that's the nipple. This tool is definitely a must-have. It's from Part Tools. These are like, I guess, wrenches for the spoke so that you can tighten the nipples on here. And I did notice that some of these nipples around the rims aren't all the way tightened compared to everything else. So I had to use that tool and make sure everything's tightened to at least close to what I feel like it should be. I understand that this messes with the trueness of the wheel, but I just find that it's weird that some of these were very loose in comparison to the other ones. So that's just what I did. I made sure everything is at least tight, or at least hand tight. And eventually I will go to a local bike shop and get this true for real, but that should be good for now at least. Okay, so the first order of operations for a tubeless setup is to actually clean the rims so that no debris can, like, I guess, mess with or interfere with the tape, which is kind of weird because this, like I already mentioned, this rim is already taped. However, it's so dirty underneath the tape. You can kind of see here. Not sure if this is like rust or I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna try to clean it off. Yeah, that's why I'm in my bathroom. All right, guys, so I think I made the most progress I've ever made thus far. But just to recap on what my progress is that I finally was able to get off the old tire from the wheel. These are the old tires here. And I did so without levers or tire levers. Even though I purchased some and they did arrive, I was too impatient, so I really tried my best to get these tires, the old tires, off of these wheels so I can at least get started figuring out what I need to do. I was able to do that, and I was able to even dry fit the new tires on. Initially, when I was trying to dry fit the tires on, I got a little bit worried because sorry, I'm walking over here. This is the new tire here, and this is the wheels right here. What I realized was that, I guess initially when I was trying to dry fit everything, that looks like it wasn't going to fit because the gap is crazy. And I started getting worried because I was thinking like, hey, did I buy the wrong size tires? You got to work one beat at a time to finally get it in, and you got to do it both sides. And it finally fits, and it looks pretty much good. I made sure the direction is all correct and everything. I even was able to put the nipple in, tension it, make sure every nipple is somewhat up to tension. My tubeless tires kit came in, so we're about to get started now to finally add the tubeless setup to my Polygon. I don't think I'm going to excuse me. I don't think I'm going to need to record the whole process. I'm sure you guys are able to look that up, but I'm going to give you guys progress updates as I go on. So this is just a dry fitting. I'm going to remove the tire again. I'm going to have to tape the rim, and then add the valve. This kit here has everything. It has your valve, it has the pouches or the sealants. It also has rim tape, which is what you need. Speaking of rim tape, I did confirm that these rims come taped. However, these tapes apparently aren't rated for tubeless setup. These are just your standardized tape that the rim came with. So it's not recommended that you use that tape to do a tubeless setup. So that's what I've learned. That's what I'm going to follow. I actually rolled up the tape. Apparently you're supposed to reuse these, which is kind of weird because they don't stick anymore. So not sure why you would reuse them, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to explain, well, not explain, but I'm going to show you guys each progress step that I've made. So let's go. First, removal of the tire and taping of the rim. Okay, so this is where we are at with at least the front wheel. I was able to tape this whole wheel, and I'll be honest, it was a lot more difficult than I expected, but I did go 1.5 ways. I installed the valve straight down, and we're good to go on to the next step. Okay, the moment of truth. I got everything, I believe, seated. I know this is like the muck-off sticker sticking out, but I don't think that should matter. It looks like everything is uniform all the way around, so we're gonna do it. I'm supposed to use this whole canister, or at least most of it. So here, hoping to hear the beads knocked into place. So let's see. Maybe because I'm doing this one-handed. Hold on. Hold on. Hopefully this works. Here's the hoping. Oh, there seems to be a leak. Can I do this wrong? Alright guys, I just want to say, scratch everything I said in the previous clip. I finally figured it out. It took me a couple days, I know, but I finally got it to work. So the tires are on. The tubeless setup is working. There's no more air leakage. Everything seems to work. It's been 2 days now. I waited. The air is still there. So we're pretty much good. So I want to tell you guys the materials you need and the troubleshooting steps. So over here, so first things first, I mentioned in the previous clip that the rims are actually taped. However, this is not the correct tape for tubeless setup. And I think the reason why is because this material seems to be a fabric-like material and air will obviously leak through it. So this does not work. For the Polygon, again, if you see this red tape or any other tape that is not, I guess, related to tubeless setup, you can't use it because it's not going to work. Next thing, tubeless setup tape. You can kind of see that I have two sides here. The reason why is because I initially bought this size, which is a bigger 30mm wide size, not the correct size. What happens is when you use too wide of a tape for your tubeless setup, is that the the tires cannot seat properly. The tape is in the way. And it's a lot more difficult for you to do the actual taping because it's so wide. You'll find yourself having a lot of bubbles as well as a lot of wrinkles and bumps and just imperfections that provide too much errors, I think. What you want is actually a 25mm wide tape. That's actually the size for those rims right there, those entity rims. So when you get the proper size width for your rims, it seats properly, it's perfect. It works a lot better, it's easier to set up. Get the proper size. So if you're using the entity rims for the Polygon, the size is 25mm wide. Next is sealant. You'll need at least 2 pouch. If you're like me and you bought the kit, it comes with 2 pouch and valves, core removers and all that. So you're better off buying the kit. So sealant, you need a lot of these. Next is a pump and an air canister of some sort. I know in my previous clip I was trying to use the CO2 inflator kit. It does work. I can confirm that it does work. However, you're much better off just buying some sort of setup like this because it's a lot more expensive to rely on CO2 to inflate and seat your tires on the rim. It costs about 20 bucks to get that little adapter kit, and then about 20 more bucks for two cans of CO2 cartridges. So it's not, optimal for you to do that. You can get this air shot from Amazon for about 60 bucks, about the same price as you would if you went with a CO2 kit. What happens is you want to use your bike pump about 120 to 130 psi into this canister, and this is able to close and hold the air pressure in here. And then you want to connect it to the actual tires and then shoot it in there almost like it's a compressed air machine or compressor, and then it'll help seat the tires onto the rim. So yeah, now let's get to the troubleshooting part. So there were 3 main issues that I've experienced. One is the rim tape that came with this Polygon Entity X15 rim is that it's not tubeless ready. I know it's advertised that you might see that it says the rims are tubeless ready, it's taped. You might see some people have actual proper tubeless setup tape, but mine wasn't. That red tape is not tubeless ready. What happens is air will leak through these spokes, and that's exactly how I knew the tape wasn't tubeless ready. So when I changed that tape, and I did this test, when I changed that tape to actual tubeless setup tape, air no longer leaked from the spoke, so I was good there. The second problem that I already mentioned was that get the proper width tape. It's a lot easier to use. There's no bubbles. If you apply enough tension, you can wrap the whole the whole rim 2.5 times without any bubbles at all. So it works perfectly when you get the proper size tape. When you do get the wrong size tape, what happens is the tires can't seat onto the rim, which causes air leakage around the rim. So keep that in mind. Using the proper size tape and making sure that it's tubeless ready will help you tremendously. Finally, the second thing that you will, or maybe third thing that you will experience now is that the tire will weep if it's brand new tires. These were brand new when I bought them. And what I experienced with the tape was it was all good, everything's all sealed, the tire's seated. I was still losing air and I was wondering why. The air was actually leaking through the side walls of this this tire. Sorry, it's just a lot of terms here. It was almost like it was crying out these little tiny pores all over the tire. And I had no idea what to do, and I didn't even think that was a possibility. But what happens is that brand new tires have these little pores that needs to be filled in. So, per the instruction of the pouch, it'll tell you to use about 75 milliliters and you should be good. No, you need to use a lot more if it's a brand new tire because you need to fill in all of these little pores. I know you don't see it now, it's very hard to see, it's probably pin size, but the sealant needs to get in there and fill in those holes and prevent air from leaking out. So I instead use a full pouch for this tire here, 3/4 for this tire here because there were no weeping issue, but I still put in 3/4 of a pouch just to ensure I don't have that issue, and it all worked. So there you go. Those are the things I've learned, I guess. But to recap, again, use the proper size tape width for your rims. In the case of the Polygon Siskiu D6, these are 25 milliliters, sorry, not milliliters, millimeters wide. You can kind of see it there. I know it's upside down, but it says 584 by 25. You need 25. The next thing is be generous with your sealant. You need a lot for brand new tires because there are pores that you need to fill in. So yeah, there you go.